Hello, and welcome to part 2 of I Learned Blender for this. Now, I know it's been a while, but I did have a few things going on, and I just really haven't had time to work on this. But I am back, and I will preface this by saying that some of the clips are missing. I don't know how it happened, I don't know why it happened, but some of the video is just not there. And I'll explain it as I go along. It's not a lot, so I wouldn't worry about it, but I'll show you. So the first thing I wanted to do is just kind of start adding a bit more detail into the cabinets, and you can see that I did this through like pulling the doors out. I must have lost the video for that, but here I am just like pulling the door out of that first cabinet and just sort of defining the edges a bit more of like where the doors are. And then also I'm making a hinge, and I started with the square and then just like cut it down into a hexagon. Is that a hexagon? No, it's an octagon. Cut it down into an octagon, and then here I am just like once I have the hinge made, just copying it over to the other doors of the closets. And this might be a little bit jarring just because I'm trying to look at everything, make sure the angles are alright. But yeah, before this, there's a little bit of video lost. And then after this, I actually had to learn how to use the knife tool, so I had to force myself to figure that out. Unfortunately, the video for that is also lost, so in a minute you'll just see the drawers just pop into existence, because apparently I went to search how to use the knife tool and I just hit stop recording and I forgot to start recording again. And here I am just making the desk. Got about halfway through making that before I decided to hit recording again. And then this, I'm just a little confused because I'm trying to like pull out one of the edges so that I can make this little back panel across the desk, and you'll see it whenever I figure it out. There it is. And I'm just trying to make this little back panel across the desk. I don't know why I did this. You're never gonna see it in any of the reference like poses. Like, I'm never going to end up actually drawing that, but it's there, I guess, for my own sanity, because that's what our desks were kind of like. They were a little bit bigger than this, but I just kind of made something to fit the room. And there's the tiny box under the bed that I forgot to record. And this, whenever I put the desks in, that was sort of whenever my brain was like, ah, yes, I made this room the perfect size. Didn't even mean to, I just apparently made it the right size. And here I am just putting like a softer edge on all the doors and the dresser and everything. Just sort of going through, beveling whatever edges I need to, just to give everything sort of that softer look. And here I am just like looking for something to work on, and I chose to work on the microwave and to just sort of soften the edges on that as well. And then after this, I get to work on the chairs, and I started off by making the seat, and this is not actually the seat that I end up going with. I actually ended up like redoing all of this. So what you're seeing right now is not what I actually ended up going with. I messed something up. I don't know what it was, but I redo this. I don't know that I redo the back of the chair. I definitely redid the seat. But here I am just like adding a little divot to the chair to sort of show the difference between like the structural parts of the chair and the just plain of the back of it. And then here I am just going back and redoing the seat. I think because I didn't attach it to the back of the chair the first time, so I just had to go back and redo that. And then after this, I am like using the knife tool, which I now know how to use, and I just had to get the camera aligned properly so that I could hit the right points that I wanted to hit. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in those holes and reattach them. And then I will take, I think I took the back of the chair and I just like pulled it down to make the legs. Yeah, so I just took the back of the chair and I just sort of elongated those pieces and made that into the legs of the chair, and then I just copied a square over to the front, and then I just made 2 legs in the front. And yeah, that's the little chair. And then I had to hide everything so I could actually see what I was doing. And once the chair is made, then I just take that entire object, because all the little parts of it that I made are interconnected. So then I just take the whole object and I copy everything. Well, I have to soften all the edges first, and then I copy everything. And I just move it over to a different part of the room, which happens to be over by the window, because we had this little tiny window in our room, which was a nightmare whenever we were in winter, because our room was on the 3rd floor. And so in the winter, everyone below us had their heaters on, and we didn't, because our room was already 90 degrees from everyone else. And here I am, I'm just making a rug. I had a little like shag carpet that I brought into our dorm room. And then I go ahead and get started on the window that I'm talking about. But this tiny little window, we had a fan set up next to it, and it was our only ventilation for the entire winter, because it was like 25 degrees outside, and it was 90 degrees in our room. And here I am just cutting out like a section of the wall just so that you can sort of see the window area. And I had a little trouble with that. I wasn't sure why it was like making a line all the way across the wall, like at a corner. I don't know why it did that, but not too worried about it. And then I'm just like making all the edges and just softening those. And then I think I go back and I like unsoften those so that I can add in. I know. Anyway, I soften the edges, and then I'm going to add in just this little, like, I don't know what to call it. It's like a little mound. But in our room, it was like a, it was like just like the clasp to open the window. So I just added that in just to sort of get the general look of the window. And then after that, just doing a few touch-ups, and then I'm adding in the wall. So I'm adding in the second wall, which is going to be like 2 other walls, and then the ceiling. So I'm going to finally put those on. And it just took a little finagling, because like I wasn't sure, can I just like flip this around? No, I can't. I have to make the entire thing from scratch. So I just make this giant cube for whatever reason, and then I just delete some of the other sides. And then I just like added a little bit of thickness to the cube, so I just like extruded the edges a little bit. And you can't see anything that's going on right now, because I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I was hiding everything that was inside the room. Yeah, I was hiding everything inside the room just so I could get a better look at what I was trying to do. And I could not get a good angle on this for the life of me. It was so difficult. I don't know why. But eventually I get it figured out. It takes me a little bit. And then here I am just adding everything back to the room after hiding the outside wall. And like, I had it figured out already. And then I'm going to start working on the TV that we had. And like I said in the last video, the TV and the microwave were swapped, so these are not the spots that they were actually in. The microwave was on my roommate's side of the room, and the TV was on my side of the room, sitting on top of an Xbox. And I did not choose to include the Xbox just because I didn't think that it was really worth including. Like, the idea that there's a TV there is fine, and the Xbox has absolutely no relation to the story at all. I mean, the TV doesn't either, but I just needed something to sort of fill the counter space. And here I am just like sort of adding the stand that the little screen goes on. So I've just made the monitor, and you can probably tell that I've gotten a lot better at making stuff than I was in the last video. And so it's just gotten a lot easier, and I think I'm a lot better at using Blender now and like understanding that little circle that you see popping up. That's like a variant adjusting thing. So whatever's in the center of the circle gets adjusted farther than whatever's on the edges, and it just makes doing this sort of stuff easier. And I just kind of put the TV at an angle just to make it more realistic in how it looks in the room. And here I am just removing everything but the floor. And then I started putting in the doorway. And this was kind of the same as the window, just like putting in just the door frame and then cutting a slot out of the wall and just making sure it's kind of the same size as the space between the cabinet and the desk. And then just kind of going about and just adding in the little missing edges that I cut out from the bottom, because I just put a square in there and then I cut out the middle of it, and so I just needed to readjust the bottom. And here I am using the knife tool to cut off the bottom of the wall, and then just like smoothing out the edges of the doorway, just beveling those and making sure I don't bevel them too far or else it looks too rounded, and that's not what I wanted. I kind of wanted the entire room to look very boxy and just very... I'll have a lot of hard edges because that's kind of how it was for us. And then, as you saw in the little reference art, there's like, my roommate had a bunch of stuff all over the wall. She had like a bunch of posters and little like cards, because she's a big K-pop fan, and so just a bunch of K-pop guys all over her wall all the time, which was fine. I loved her K-pop obsession. It was incredible to like learn about and listen to. But here I am just like adding a little like poster, just something like placeholders. She had like 2 or 3 of these, and then just adding in the little postcards that she had of them, which was so adorable. Just pasted all across her wall. And then you can see me like referencing my image again, the initial sketch that I made, to just sort of see like what the general idea is, where would be the best spots to put these. And then I'm going over to this side of the room, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, I need to make a hanging, sort of a rope tied to the wall that's hanging with like pictures hanging off of it, and I just could not figure out how to do the rope. And eventually I was just like, okay, I'll just make a rod, whatever, and I'll bevel it so that it's an octagon, and then I'll just cut it and like pull it down. And this, I was trying to save time and effort, but because it got all screwed up like this, I was crooked instead of like hanging properly, this actually took more time than if I had just like done something else. But I know that now, so learned my lesson. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add in just the little like posters that hang off of it. So here I am adding those in, trying to get them, you know, angled right. This one doesn't need to be, but these do. And this was difficult because for some reason rotating an object is different in edit mode and object mode. So I had to like switch between the modes to get it to actually like turn. For some reason I was trying to just like turn it a little bit, and it was just instead turning all of the edges instead of the entire object as a whole. I don't know why it did that. I don't know why that's even programmed in to do that, but it did. And then here I am just like checking my reference art and all that, and then I'm going to add in some footage here of me showing off the room, because apparently I haven't done that yet. And now let me just show you the finished room. So this is the finished room. As you can see, it's kind of inside of the room, and this is kind of one of the shots that I was going for, just looking inside the room. This is one of the angles that I was going for, and you can kind of see just the edge of everything. And let me go ahead and hide that wall for you, if I can find it. I don't even know where it is. There it is. So, hide the wall, hide the doorway. I don't know where the doorway is. Okay. I gotta find it. There it is. Okay, so hide the wall, hide the doorway. And then this is the finished room, and you can kind of see, like, this is the little box that I was talking about down here. Oh, crud. Hang on, I haven't used Blender in a while, I have to figure out how to... There we go. And this is the little box that I was talking about that I made off camera. It really wasn't much. I just like made a box and then cut off the top and then added little planes to the edges. And there's the desks and the beds and the sink. There's the entire room. And you can kind of see the little posters on the wall over here, the little sticky notes, or not sticky notes, postcards. And you can even see like the hinges on all of the closets. And that's everything in the room. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was fun to watch me sort of flail around like a fish out of water. But yeah, this was me learning Blender for this tiny room. And this video took so long to come out, and I am very sorry for that. But now I finally get to move on to another project, so I'm happy. Anyway, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!